as Eli Manning stays on his feet. It is caught by Tyree.
Welcome to Catch the Moment Podcast. I'm your host, David Tyree. Excited to have you back for another week where we're going to take you through to the process, the journey that's going to get you to your next moment. And listen, might as well call this a family and friends episode because I got family and he's been a longtime friend of mine. He is an endurance trainer. He's a longtime artist. Dude got bars, y'all. But even more so, he's like my local MacGyver. He can get it all done. Jack of all trades, master of many. Nelson Diaz, thanks for being with me, my boy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. This is a family affair, so.
This is definitely family, man. Good to have you at the orange table. I had to throw in a little Cuse love, but I know you ain't got no ties, but just put that out there.
Zero tie. You're the tie to Cuse. Good enough for me.
Good enough, man. So, I mean, this is kind of like the intro vibe, right? Is, you know, catch the moment. Everybody knows me for the helmet catch. So I got to ask you, and I don't even know if I've really ever asked you this question. You know, where were you the first time you ever saw the helmet catch? And, you know, what were the thoughts, any story, you know, a little context at the moment?
You never asked me because had you asked me, you probably wouldn't have invited me for this episode. So I can't believe we got to start off like this. This might not go well from here.
It's all good.
From this point forward. But before I tell you where I was, I'm home team.
Okay,
Jersey born and bred head. So you know all my life I've been rooting for the New Jersey Football Giants.
Okay, we switching up. Let's go, Jers.
We just got to clear the air real quick. If you're playing scrimmages, playing games, everything is in New Jersey, but you're titled or the business side is from another state, you're still...
Still New Jersey?
I love New York. A lot of family, a lot of friends. I love y'all in New York. It's New Jersey football Giants. New York done took so much from New Jersey. I'm trying.
I'm Jersey too.
I'm trying to hold it in. I'll let it go after this. It's the biggest one.
Woosah.
Statue of Liberty is in New Jersey water.
Wow. Is that a bar? Whoa.
But it's an exclave. So it's New York property surrounded by New Jersey water.
How is no one talking about this?
I have no bitterness towards New York. I love my New York people. I just had to clear the air. Certain things I've been holding on for about 20, 30 years.
No problem.
Holding in. So, home team all day, always rooting for the Giants. Had no clue who David Tyree was.
Yeah.
I was watching that. I was watching the game. I was probably getting chips or food for people. Because I just remember coming back, everyone was like, wow, can't believe it. I'm looking at what happened. And then I see this thing and it's like, wow, that was amazing. Maybe they'll even say it's a fair catch. and that's it. I think I was either at my place or one of my buddies' place.
Guys, you was hanging
surrounded
out.
by family. Just
family's there?
Yeah.
Everybody, all the Giants fans going crazy? Good vibes?
Yeah. And they're the fans that know all the players.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just home team. I'm rooting for you.
You just home team.
I'm just home team.
Listen, bro. Well, listen, obviously, like I said, for that moment led to many moments of ourselves. But, you know, because I connect with you maybe a couple years after the helmet catch, a year or two after the helmet catch. Actually, a year, right? So that's 2008.
We met, I think it was the day after Plaxico G-checked his thigh.
That's 2008.
When the rest of the team had a game.
Yeah.
You and Plaxico were in Elizabeth.
Well, I might have checked in with him early, but obviously I definitely not. Me, I was not there.
No.
I'm
sorry. Then it must have been a week after, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The team had a game. We met at Christ Fellowship.
Yeah.
It was you, Plaxico, and I forgot who else.
He did come.
Yeah. And I remember Plaxico. And I recognized Plaxico, I should say.
Yeah.
I thought you were his bodyguard.
Yo, times is hard out here for the champ.
Are we okay to continue?
Hey, listen,
or am I kicked out now? I'm so cool.
This is legendary right here.
Making sure.
Listen, let me find out. I was the acquaintance. I was his acquaintances. I was just the dude. Hey, listen, man, I'm cool with that. But that's actually part of my whole vibe, is just to be a regular dude, and it's worked out well for me for the most part. So that's when we began to link up. But man, I mean, you've had one of these super duper powerful stories. So I want you to kind of put me, and I guess where I really want to start is, you know, I know that you're this massive overcomer. Your stage name is Nelson Runaway Diaz, right? So Runaway, people know you as Runaway in certain areas as an artist. So where does the Runaway come from? And it's lasted with you throughout, you know, your lifetime.
Yeah. So when I left Jersey to start my life over, I headed to the Southwest, and out there, one of my friends was hanging out in the streets. I used to roll with a circle of MCs and stuff, and I'd be in state, out of state, upstate, and I'd come back and just casually we was out, I think, drinking or getting ready to go drinking or whatever. And one of my boys looked at me and says, "You move like a runaway. We can never keep track of you. You're always here, you're there." And then the other one was like, "That's your name.
That's your name.
Runaway." So it was given to me by MCs in the streets, and now it represents something completely different. But even then, it was way better than my prior street name, rapper name, which was Puerto Rican Assassin. So Runaway's a lot easier to swallow, a lot easier to...
Definitely a little easier, definitely a little more palatable, more, more digestible. So like I said, it started out... So get into it. Obviously, you're not a stranger to adversity, and we know that even to, you know, on its healthiest means that adversity builds character. I know you to be that. So describe the environment and the journey that you grew up that was, you know, that shaped your formative years, and, you know, how you became this, you know, began this journey of an overcomer.
It's interesting because the journey I'm about to speak on and describe is actually something that I'm just now in my older years able, by the grace of God, to connect the dots to really understand me, you know, and some of my issues and some of my challenges and some of my successes as a result of the issues and challenges.
Yeah.
So, you know, raised with a mom and dad, you know, in the home for a certain amount of years. They had their issues, on and off relationships. It was a violent home. It was
physically violent, emotionally.
Yeah.
All of it.
All the words that end in ly, kind of mentally, emotionally, you know, physically. But even in that, as crazy as it sounds, there was love, and maybe it's just because that was the environment. I understood it.
Sure.
So, and then eventually, my parents split up for good. I was 12 years old, and you know, that kind of flicked a switch in my head where, for the first time, and I'm able to speak on it now with understanding, whereas before I would just speak on it casually. Single parent home, 12. Prior to that, it was just all violence anyway. That led me to this, led me to that. But man, what I just realized probably about a month or two is that at 12 years old, that's when I first realized how alone I was against the world to a certain degree, because my father wasn't there anymore. Okay. My father's a truck driver, so even when he'd come home from work, he'd drive past the school, I'd get in the truck. There's just that safety net, you know, of a dad, of a father figure. Yeah, he has your back. And the streets don't necessarily mess with people who have a crazy dad in the home.
100%.
And I had that. Yeah. So there was so much safety and security, and you know, when he was gone, he was still in arm's length away, lived in the same city. But that just started a domino effect in my life that didn't bode well for many years.
What city? Elizabeth. Oh yes.
Eastwick.
Just for context. Yeah, it's real, especially back then.
Yeah. So you know, like I said, his departure and the family breakup just flicked the switch where I had to decide to go all out. I'm on my own. I gotta wild out, because now it's just me. I have an older brother. I had other younger brothers, but my older brother was living a different life than myself. You know,
Got you.
He had opportunities, job opportunities, stuff like that. Calling for me, the streets were calling. So the only way to, I'm answering the phone like an idiot. So the only way to really make it was to kind of, you know, hello.
So it was a survival switch in your mind at that point. Once the safety net, we gotta number one, survive, but then find these environments that, you know. Now, was it something in light of the streets that you gravitated toward, just in light of whatever was going on inside of you?
Honestly, I think it was the relationships.
Okay.
You know,
that's real.
I've always been a real loyal person. So even when people did me wrong, the natural thing for most people is to just move away. For me, I'm more forgiving.
Yeah.
Probably, again, thinking of it so many years later, maybe because that would be another safety net strip for me. You know what I'm saying? I'd be letting go of something that I'm comfortable with. That's around, I don't know how to describe
At least
it. I'm
you know,
still trying to figure it out.
Well, I kind of, and I think when I have similar attributes. When you're looking for something that's lasting, when you're a loyal person, you value the attribute, and you're willing to give it just for the opportunity that it lasts. But I think like most loyal people, you kind of get burned and you learn.
I was working teenager, me and two friends, and we get paid in cash. I mean, we were just doing some cleaning jobs at a church, and we'd spend 8 hours there, and we'd work 4. The other 4, we just playing. We just run around playing tag, doing stupid stuff. But anyway, we get paid cash, and I had a trip coming up in a couple of days with the youth crew. We're gonna go to Mexico, do some work at an orphanage, and
Yeah.
And I lost my cash envelope, and so I told my partner, "Oh man, see if you can help me find it." And I was embarrassed. So at the end, he says, "Nelson, did you find it?" I said, "Oh yeah, I found it. I'm good, thanks." Left to Mexico, empty pockets. Had to borrow money, just to buy some souvenirs for my for my family.
Snap.
I think I'm 14, 15 years old. All kinds of insecurities. I come back, and then my boy says, one of them says, "Hey, just so you know, I found your envelope. This, but you said you found it.
You said you found it.
So I let you, you lied to me, so I let you leave with nothing." So I was like, "All right, that seems fair." He said, but I used $40. And I was expecting him to say, "But I give it back."
So that lie cost you $40, but he gave.
But that was it. So then I was like, keep it. Don't worry about it. But like that's an example right there. When even your tightest circle,
sure,
finds a way to do you dirty, even when you're dirty yourself. So
yeah, that's definitely part of the ropes. And like I said, I'm 42. I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask you your age because you look way younger than your age. I know you're a little older.
74.
No doubt. So, but like I said, I think in that era we had a lot more experience, a lot more liberties and freedom, whether it was justified or not, but that led to a lot more, you're talking about 13, 14 years old and you out here. Tell me your thoughts in general, and we're going to get back on track as far as just the journey, but your thoughts about even that idea, knowing that we're kind of growing up in a safety net society, what's the risk, benefits, or, in relation, you raise children, and we're far more protective in light of what we experience. Give me some quick thoughts, even on that, in light of your experience and how it's cultivated strong character, being able to have a good measure of discernment. What's your thoughts?
I think there are safety nets that are necessary, especially when raising children.
Yeah.
And then there are those that enable. They're not safety nets; they're enabling nets.
Yes.
It's a bubble.
100%.
One bubble can protect and steer and guide and help develop individuals, and the other one just keeps them with this false sense of reality, of who they are, what they can accomplish. And I think that's a society we live in right now where, truth depends on how you feel today. And that's not a safety net. That's not a way to raise children. A lot of my success has come because of ton of failures. If there's a way to fail, I guarantee you I found it.
Yeah.
And probably walked down that path or at least thought about it long and hard. But one of the things that's a blessing and a curse is I'm pretty candid, transparent, black and white, not a sugarcoat type of guy.
Yeah.
But as a father, you need to. You can't be the hard wall. You could still be a wall, but maybe it could be foam padding.
I call it the velvet brick.
Yeah. So I'm trying to communicate those realities and make sure it's the right safety net and develop understanding.
Sure.
In the kids, and it's easier for me to speak to my son or to males because we have similar experiences as males, and there's less sugar required.
Absolutely. Get straight to it.
Straight to it.
That's good living as a man.
And, it's like, hey, you're gonna choose to love me or hate me based on what I say,
Yeah.
regardless. You know, as much as it would hurt, I'd rather you hate me for me telling you the truth and preparing you for reality than for you to hate me because one day you realize I was enabling you and setting you up to fail.
Yeah.
Even although I love you.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, so I'm not sure if that answered anything that you
No.
asked.
You hit on a few of them, man. So I'm gonna put you back on track in relation to just some of the journey. Where did music come from? You talked about obviously moving from New Jersey to Arizona. At what point does this begin to pick up and become something for you as far as just in your DNA, your way of influence, impact, and communicating? Dope artists. I'll never forget my favorite song, Tyree, on them. I mean, like we gotta pull that back out right there. But
funny, when I was younger, I used to love rock. Rock music was my thing.
That's wildly surprising.
To middle school, and then in middle school, I had this class. I forgot what it was called, but one of the projects we had to create a 30-second commercial, and so
okay.
I created a 30-second commercial about Dino Bright toothpaste. My brand, my patent. Dino Bright toothpaste, and I rapped it. And then I just thought it was just something fun to do, right? What happened was there was this one dude that was a solid rapper. Like, he had the respect of everybody in middle school.
Yeah.
And so these people heard me rap, and automatically it was like, oh, Nelson's rapping. It's Nelson against Anthony in the lunchroom tomorrow. And I was like, so
those were the good old days.
That's the beginning of the journey, because I went home that night. And so my first rap was about Dino Bright toothpaste.
Yeah.
Second rap was a battle rap. And I don't name drop often, but when I do, I try to make it so you can't find out who I'm talking about. But my boy Shahid, my first battle rap.
Yeah.
I was going off on Saheed because he had a big head. So I was just trying to find ways to. And then the next day I'm ready in the cafeteria, and it just didn't happen. So, but from that point forward, like,
you realized
was one of my things. And then was getting into trouble in Jersey. Went out to the Southwest, as I mentioned, and linked up with some rappers, just coincidentally working a telemarketing job, and a couple of rappers were there, so they introduced me to their friends and got involved with that circle. I knew that, I was somewhat talented in rap, and I caught on pretty quick, but I had more of a business mind, so my thought was, let me manage these rappers. So that's essentially what I was doing. I ended up managing rappers from Arizona, New York, New Jersey, and one from Cali. And this is, mid 90s, so that was my way into music. They were amazing.
Yeah.
I always said, and I still say to this day, those people, from the rising slums, segregated lands in the mountains and sun, they know who they are. They were on par with 99% of top tier rappers. They were just undiscovered.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think
that was the age when New York City had the whole game on the chokehold, and it was almost like no one else existed.
Listen, at the same time, I'm glad we didn't blow up, because my brain was somewhere else. Wouldn't have been here today. And then eventually, a couple of things happened, which we could get into if you want to, but
we gonna get into
that's
it.
That's right. Started changing my way of thinking. So I left Jersey with a clean record, ended up in Arizona.
Bro, let's get
with a dirty
to
record. And my mom was going through money problems. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back home, take care of moms. So such a limitation. So I ended up traveling with some things to get back to Jersey that would help mom, and I'm out financially. And throughout that process, I ended up stopping by the church where I had some of my friends. They all knew I had a screw loose or two, but
of course,
they all did. They accepted me. So God just started working in my life, started changing certain things. So subtly. So what I ended up doing, just to go ahead.
You gonna have to rewind, all right? Because you speak, because you transparent, bro. We here at the table. So all right. So there. You said you had a clean record to dirty record. What happened? Like, meaning, like, and you already made the illusions about the street. What was your level of involvement in the street? Was it something that actually, you talk about having this clique, and we all got this wild side, but ultimately, it had to be tamed. You had to grow. You had to make decisions. What did you actually get arrested for? And what was the, you know, what did it produce? You know, what was the lesson before you kind of hit that transformative moment, how God was drawing you?
Questions like these assure me that you must have full-time employment ready for me, just in case some of these responses start a domino effect in a certain direction. No, listen, you know, my story is
respectably.
Yeah. So aggravated robbery, several charges was what was up against me. Ended up having one of those friends that I forgave snitch on me.
Ooh.
Hey, listen. Ooh. I gotta say, maybe I needed that.
Yeah. Now, did you feel that way? Did you feel that way at the time?
At the time, my way of thinking is so different than most people, and I don't mean that in a pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
But it didn't faze me. I didn't really think about it. I just looked at it as, man, this guy's a sucker, but he's my friend. He's a sucker, and he's my friend. So I saw him afterwards.
It was built different.
It was just one of those things where I was like, hey, that was dirty. And watch out, because so-and-so's looking for you. You snitched on him too.
Yeah,
but my mindset, you know, I'm just, you know.
Just moving on.
Just moving on. So those charges didn't stick. For some reason, witnesses don't always show up.
Yeah.
So those charges didn't stick. Went through a process, ended up pleading out in order just to put this thing behind me.
Absolutely.
So that landed me in prison. It's a whole bunch of lessons
Prison burritos.
There. Prison burritos. We got to talk about it because you threw it out there.
Prison burritos, bro.
So, and I know I'm not supposed to have my hand on the table, but one of the things I learned in prison, Arizona prison, is shout out to my Mexicans too. Prison burritos. You get stuff from commissary, ramen noodles. They used to have, I can't find it anymore. They used to have roast beef in a can. So you got your ramen noodles, you throw some roast beef in a can.
Yeah.
You got your hot pots, you get those, you know, however you get them. And then you warm it up at prison burritos. Now, some people have more commissary. They load it up with stuff, you know.
I had to give prison burritos a shout but you know, to me, when I think of prison burritos, I always think of you in the attitude or your disposition of gratitude, meaning like there was nothing far from you from the moment that your evolution as a servant, evolving as a man. Obviously, I want to get into this place where this collision happens and transformation happens, renewing of the mind. You mature and start moving in a different direction. But that's what prison burritos is for me. It's like, there was a moment that I could connect in my experience where this is what I was dealing with. This was filet mignon for us. This was a treat, right?
That's the only way I looked at it. That day or those days, we were eating good.
Eating real
and all
good.
it took was a flour tortilla with some ramen noodles and some meat. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. We got to do it again.
Simple thing. All right, so I'm gonna pivot real quick. So talk to me about a little bit of
I forgot where we started. Where we were going.
I'm gonna get you back on track, bro. Talk to me a little bit about your mindset and your approach to success in general, right? Like, so what do you because I call you MacGyver, being like, you're one of the few people I know that actually really can do many things well. So, what about you? Is there like just this insane idea of belief about you? What are some of the practices that you put in place that push you into these areas where you can find success and add value in a lot of different ecosystems?
I wish it was deep.
Go ahead. It gotta be honestly, deep. We want it simple and straight.
Yeah. Something needs to be done and somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
And if those with the talent, experience, and education aren't available or don't have the desire, I kind of view the majority of things in life as nuts and bolts and wires. You just got to know which nuts go with which bolts and which wires to connect. And
love it.
You got 95% of everything in life figured out. It takes some time. I mean, if you're working on a car, more dangerous.
Yeah.
But same concept. It's just wires and metal pieces. You just got to figure out where they go. And not saying I do stuff haphazardly. I do the research, but
yeah,
it's not really too deep. But at the same time, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking on my feet here, at the same time, maybe it is, because I do enjoy seeing something to completion. I do value that. in my life. So maybe it is deeper than I initially alluded to. Yeah, I do get some satisfaction out of it.
That's huge.
I don't look for the pat on the backs, but there is some fulfillment that I find. Why? I don't know. Could it be because of a lack or a void somewhere in my, probably, or that's just the way I'm wired.
Nah, I think you said it perfectly. I like to major in simplicity because a lot of times the world and even just for the sake of I enjoy reading, I enjoy intellect, I enjoy some higher things, but at the end of the day, it's practicality that allows us to apply things, right? Like if I can just get the next step that's going to move me along and actually do something, then I'm gonna feel better about my growth process. That's insanely valuable, what you just talked about. So talk to me, when does, like I said, like when do you really kind of like land the plane and find stability, begin to enter in things that are more meaningful and purposeful along your journey?
So going back to the managing rappers and all that stuff, I started, the business is really what started my change, because just looking at it from marketing and promotions, that's back in the day when you had the parental advisory stickers on your tapes, and that reduces your market. That reduces the base you're trying to reach.
Market share, no doubt.
All of a sudden, yeah. So all these rappers, the majority of them that I'm talking about, they all had some college under them. They're all lyricists.
Yeah.
Fierce with the tongue, with the words, with all that.
Wordplay.
So I'd be like, hey, y'all don't need to be cursing. As far as I'm concerned, you only curse for two things. Number one, because you lack the words to express yourself. You guys don't lack that.
Yeah.
Or if you got frustration, that's your
that's real energy.
I understand it. But if it's just because that's what everyone's doing, and maybe dumbing down your lyrics is easier for other people to absorb.
Yeah.
That's not the reason. Duplication will get you money, but originality, that's long lasting.
Ooh.
So that's what I would tell my guys. But
you was trying to make them like a young Kanye. You was trying to bring them on to the Chance the Rapper lane, I guess.
If that's good, then yeah. They were pushing back. It's not us, Nelson. It's not us, and that's fine. So I said, all right. And that's when I said, you know what? Then I'm gonna rap myself. I'm gonna do what they're not interested in doing, because I'd rather make money. So again, it was the business side. I'd rather make money than the alternative, which is make music that, So then that's where my transformation started happening because of business. Now, and I started cleaning up my life. One of those rappers, matter of fact, he used to. I used to call women all types of names except their birth names.
Yep.
Just out of habit. So one day he pulled me to the side. He's like, Nelson, why don't you try maybe just say lady?
Like a real nice suggestion. He said, maybe.
Yeah, he said, just say lady. Instead of this word or that, just say lady. Yep. He said that worked for him. Yeah. So I've started replacing words. So my derogatory words towards women were lady. Lady. Then that just became the word. It's like, man, stop saying lady, say too much now. But that's, that was part of the process, cleaning up my language, all because of business, all because trying to get to the next level.
Interesting.
Where the life transformation happened was in one of those visits back to church to visit my friends. I was sitting there, and I'm not going to pretend like I can adequately or accurately describe what happened, but inside of me, somehow I heard, though it wasn't with my ears, I heard God say, "This is where you belong." That was it. This is where you belong. And I was just like, okay, this is where I belong. So just started gravitating more towards things that are eternal, that last. Yeah. And being raised in church, I knew the foundational stuff, the fundamental stuff, but I knew it. As a kid, I lived some of it. Then, as my situation got worse, as a kid, I gravitated towards whatever hot mess was calling me.
Sure.
But so that's where it happened, and then I just started changing, and then so I told my younger brother, I said, hey, I need you to come with me, and so I grabbed the book bag, duffel bag, and walked through the streets of Elizabeth, took him with me to the police department, and he's like, what are we doing here? I was like, I just want to see. I don't name drop often, but when I do, it's for a reason. Avery Lowry.
Okay.
Can't remember his
Shout out to
detective,
Avery.
sergeant. Unsure if he's alive. If anybody from Jersey knows that family, I believe he's in South Jersey or his family's in South Jersey. For years, I was trying to get a hold of him, but you don't just give street people, retired police officers, home address for obvious reasons. So, but that man made an impact in my life in so many different ways in my whole family's life because all of us were straying in different directions. He was always there to try to bring us back in. But anyway, man, I went to see him.
I gotta even submit that shout out because officers are under fire in general, right? And we don't hear those stories of people who are actually doing the job well above and beyond. I mean, like genuinely there for people in their community. Big shout out.
Above and beyond. One of my sisters used to run away. He'd be the one that volunteered to go find her, bring her home. I'm locked up. My younger brother, who's unfortunately following my footsteps.
Yeah.
I've heard he cracked somebody over the head with a baseball bat. He's the police officer that went to get my brother.
Man.
Juvie lunch already passed. He took him out to eat lunch because he knew he had missed lunch in Juvie. It's just that extra care.
Yeah.
He had me involved in Junior Marines, and it was me and these other two guys, these other two brothers that I used to hang with, and he just, Pops was in the house. He just brought us in, and we do stupid stuff, and he'd be there to just corral us in. So above and beyond. But in so many ways. He impacted every member of my family at the time.
I love it.
Brought some sort of peace to my mom, knowing that he was out there looking out for us because Pops wasn't as available, as we were hoping to. So head to the police department and go inside, and I said, "Hey, Avery," I said, "I just want my brother to see me, to observe me, giving you this because I'm changing my life." And Avery unzips the bag, and then Avery says, "Oh, you mean you found this in the street and you're turning it in, And I was like, "No, that it's mine, but I need my brother to see that I'm changing my life. I want him." and then Avery's looking around, police officers everywhere, and he's like, "Oh, so you mean you found this in the street and you're turning it in?" And that's when it clicked that he was trying to spare me some unfortunate, So I was like, "Yeah, that's what I said. I found it in the street. I want my brother to see me turning it in." And then after, I'm not gonna go on. He tried to help us even beyond that. But that's where the true transformation started happening, and it just started manifesting itself in my life, and through tons of failure afterwards. You get the not so finished product that's before you today.
Well, I think there has to be a starting point, right? We call it change, repentance. Everybody hits a road to Damascus, whether you're a Christian or not. There's a moment where people have to make decisions about who they want to become, how they want to live their life, someone or something that's more meaningful. And just by virtue of, obviously, clearly God's own desire for you, here you are in the back of church, and there's something inside calling you home. Powerful, super powerful. So expound more on the name Runaway, right? Because now, still to this day, you're an endurance athlete. You gotta, and like I said, maybe it means more than that, but you're still running, right? So you've been running in a lot of different ways. So I'm gonna let your name take the journey and move us into your career. I would even say at this point as an intern.
So it's funny because, like I said, that's a name I didn't give myself. So it matched with who I was at a certain moment. And when I changed, it went from what I was running from to what I'm running to. And,
I like it.
But a lot of people on the right side of the fence were saying, you're a new man, Nelson. You need to just get rid of that name, come up with a new name. And I tried. I was like, it makes sense. That doesn't reflect me anymore. But that's when I was still thinking running from. I was like, oh man, I'm still running. Mm-hmm. It's just what I'm running to. So I kept the name. It just so happens that all my life I've been a runner in a couple different senses of that word.
Sure.
On a physical aspect, in cross country as a kid and stuff like that.
Okay.
And discovered I had a heart murmur in 9th grade.
I had one of those too.
Yeah.
Irregular heartbeat, yeah.
Stopped me, and doctor was like, "Don't do nothing." So there's no sport distraction. I was too little. The talent pool in Elizabeth. I like playing football, but I didn't like playing
Elizabeth
football.
Teams was big time back then.
Basketball, no. I tried out for every sport. I tried out for swimming. I was so close to dying, drowning. It was bad.
Probably not enough body fat.
I tried. We could say that. I sucked. If we want to stick with that transparent thing.
Keep it a buck.
I was just like, I got to be good at something. So I tried everything, but running was it. And not even sprints. Anybody in sprint, give me something a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a fighting chance. So, and then, you know, with the whole endurance, I stumbled onto it accidentally. Mutual friend of ours, Brian, he did that Tough Mudder thing, and he was like,
Drag me into it. Team Believe.
He said, guys, I just did this mud race, 10 miles. You got to run through obstacles and get electrocuted. You got to do this. And the whole time I'm like, yeah. Why didn't you tell us where? So then we did the fundraiser for Eric LeGrand.
Absolutely. Big shout out Eric LeGrand.
That's right. He had just suffered a spinal cord injury. And so we did a fundraiser to see how we could, you know, chip in and help his family out.
No doubt.
And then I was hooked.
Straight like that. Now, what about? I mean, like now, mind you, most people obviously the world of, I think that was what 08, 09, you know, something like that.
11, 12, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Man, we was out here kicking it. So we do that for Eric LeGrand back then, and it was like an emerging, you know, it was an emerging thing. The Tough Mudders and the Spartan race, they were still very young.
First years.
First
literally
years.
First year. Brian did, I think, the first Tough Mudder.
Wow. So I tell people, I said, man, listen, you know, we were on that cutting edge more or less. Now it's this massive sustainable market. So what about it? Like, what about it really kind of brought that sense of fulfillment? Are you just a glutton for punishment? You know, like, is it the finish? Like you said, is it the finished product? Is it the perseverance?
I'll tell you, it's a couple of things. Initially, it was an outlet.
It's good.
Talk about it. I'll tell you, and I'm going to talk about it as men.
Sure.
You know, we're so accustomed to holding things in, suppressing things, looking the other way, taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
And that all helps us get past a moment. But that doesn't help us get past the situation. And then what happens when enough pressure accumulates, if we haven't learned to hit that release valve, or if we don't even know if we have one,
sure,
or if we didn't create one,
sure,
then it's going to come out somehow, good. For the most part, you know. No, and it's not always a nightmare of a story of an outcome, no, but it's almost always unfavorable.
Absolutely.
You know? If it doesn't end up with jail time, it ends up with at least you feeling a little bit defeated.
Absolutely.
You know, and disappointed in yourself. So number one, it just became an outlet. I was a runner. I guess I outgrew the heart murmur because I was fine. And then it turns out I was talented. Sure. To a certain degree. I was able to compete, at least in my age group level. So then that started fueling it, competitive energy. But there's the other side that happened years after that. When we were introduced to Spartan Race. So let me circle back real quick. With Tough Mudder, we did the fundraiser for Eric LeGrand.
Absolutely. We
got a call from Massachusetts. Hey, we see what you're doing for paralyzed folks, you know, people with spinal cord injuries. We have a buddy, Tim Morris, from Massachusetts. We love for you to do a race with him.
Sure.
And I was like, we can help raise money for him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do with a paralyzed person. I could barely take my scrawny behind from here to there without falling apart. And so he said, no, this guy's a beast. So we did a Tough Mudder with him. Sure enough, he taught us what to look for and how to work with his body, because he became a certified strength and conditioning coach after his paralysis. Guy's a beast. Tim Morris. Again, I'm not a name dropper. Okay. That's look him up anywhere. Tim Morris.
Tim, we got to holler at you.
Super proud of him. Love him to death. And we did a Tough Mudder. Turns out one of his college buddies, if the story serves me, my memory serves me correct, worked for Spartan and said, hey, why are you messing with those kind of races? Come over here for real challenge. Ooh. So we're like, all right. So I went online, let's figure out what Spartan is. We're like, it's just another Tough Mudder, whatever. But when I went to research Spartan, I saw Death Race.
Sign me up, Death Race.
I wish I could say it wasn't that way, but I looked at that thing and I said, Death Race. Started looking. I was like, all right. I said, I'm okay to do it. 3 things got to happen. I'm going to see if I remember the 3. I said, number 1, my wife has to co-sign. Number 2, it needs to benefit somebody. Like, I can't just be doing it for me. There's got to be a reason for it. So as a fundraiser or whatever. And I can't remember what the 3rd thing was. It was 3 things, and the box is checked off. So Joe DeSena, owner of Spartan, I told him, I said, hey, I want to do the death race. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll get you to sign up. Yeah, don't worry about it. You won't finish it anyway. And I was like, okay.
Ooh,
and
the disrespect.
I can't believe it.
Straight off the bat.
And he was right. 3 times I DNF'd. I did not finish 3 death races. The first one, I got cut at 34 and a half hours. The second one, I got cut at 52 hours, and it finished in 60 hours. So I was 8 hours away. No sleep. You had to bring your nutrition, whatever.
Oh, my
God. And then the third one, I went into with the air cast in my ankle, and after 48 hours, I think over 50% of us got cut. We were eligible to move on, but they didn't expect us to be able to. So they only set up the station, the next evolution, up the mountain for 12 people, and we were at 20-something. So they're like, guys, did a great job, but you're cut. Yeah. Matter of fact, we had to crawl under barbed wire for 15 and a half hours. That's where the Guinness Book of World Record was set by Canadian Eric Hooderer. I don't name drop unless these are people that
they
were name drop. From Canada. Amazing. So I'm rambling, my bad. But
no, it's good. It's good stuff. This is so insane.
So what I realized with Death Race is I have an attraction to the suffering. There's a whole lot of, and this I don't know the answer yet, but internally,
sure, that
does something for me. And Joe will tell you, even I'm not pleased with my DNFs, but even through them, I'm sounds stupid. I love the experience. I'm enjoying the experience while I am hating and disliking the experience because internally it's doing something.
Yeah,
and it's mentally yeah. So I don't know. So I'm just so you a couple times you mentioned that I'm a trainer. What I do is endurance training. It's life experiences. That's all I share with everything. I don't have much credentials, paperwork. But neither did the people that wrote the original books.
Yeah.
They lived things out, tested things out. Then they documented for others to learn from that. So,
sure. But you're the athlete, meaning like you have the living experience. You're the endurance athlete.
Right. So, I invite anybody out there, reach out to me.
He invites me often, y'all. And I proudly use my 7 kids as an excuse to not sign up for the next event that I'm totally unprepared for, so I'm not getting massacred.
All I say is send me your representative, someone to take your place. Just send them to me. This is all I require. Listen, trust me. Okay. Show up. Trust. I don't charge. First of all, I'm not in it for the money. And the second thing is just trust me for that one session.
Yeah.
For that one session, because you may never come back. So at least for that one session, and then I just have one principle that work. I've seen it work.
Sure.
Miracles in people's lives, males, females, young, older, and it's suffer or die. That's the whole philosophy of my training.
Okay. All right. I hope everybody got that right there. Okay. Like that's it right there. Y'all hang your hat on that.
If you want a nicer name for it, that's a little bit more appealing, adversity rehab. But suffer or die.
Suffer or die works. Suffer or die works. And I think this weird. There's this fascinating dynamic about suffering and the rewards of suffering in the human experience that really connects us to the value of growth, life. I guess really the things that really matter the most in our whole human experience. That apart from suffering, we really don't get our best. And I don't know, whether it's just our random adversities or even some of the deeper troves of things that we can invite ourselves into, or not even just invite, not deliver ourselves from, right? Because ultimately, sometimes you enter these races, it's like you can choose, hey, I just can't do this. Or at some point, and sometimes you might not be able to, or at some point you can just say, I can continue. And so, invite me in, and I think we got a lot really done here. But when I think about your mindset, and it's obviously this limitless type of mindset that you could access, what would you say is the greatest obstacle, adversity, or something that you've had to overcome at this point in your life?
Oh, it's that obstacle that I keep failing even while I overcome it every now and again, and it's myself. My mind, the character flaws, that self-doubts, insecurities, Yeah. Some insecurities, by the grace of God, I've been able to shake off.
Sure.
New ones surface for some reason. New ones are created,
It's real.
Maybe not created by me, but the atmosphere, the people around, you know. So that's the biggest challenge. There's a success and failure in overcoming myself.
That's powerful. Something that we often say is everywhere you go, there you are. Meaning like there's no particular environment that can save us from ourselves. At some point, we're going to have to confront all of our flaws, weaknesses, and in a literal sense, sometimes sin, whatever, area that kind of befuddles us or bewilders us. I can't go. If I go to Vermont, it's still me.
Right.
I just got to leave and go. It's still me. So I think that's a real honest obstacle that we're all looking to overcome.
I was just sharing that earlier today with a relative who earlier today just found out he got out of jail and he moved to another state. You know, and I just said, hey, you sound a lot like me. I left Jersey, clean record.
Yeah.
While participating in a lot of stuff because it was time to go.
Sure.
We can talk about that some other time, but it was time to leave Jersey. Ended up in Arizona, but new scenery, new friends, new atmosphere, but same attitude.
Yeah.
So ended up in prison there.
Got you.
So same thing I got to share with other folks. Just like I said.
That's real.
You're still there. The same struggles are still there. It's just what.
So although you being the greatest obstacle, like I said, you've had some significant accomplishments, massive victory. Even those 3 DNFs are victories. Most people don't enter the arena. Right.
Yeah, they don't feel like victory.
No, I know. It's not supposed to, but
I get you. Yeah,
you feel me? What would you say is your greatest, your greatest moment, your greatest achievement?
Hasn't happened yet.
All right, I could take that. Now you got to give me your next one.
Well, in all honesty, I know that I'm jumping from moment to moment.
Sure, it's all good.
And some of those moments, I look at them as little rocks in a river to help me get to that other side.
Sure.
And that's jumping, moment to moment in a good sense. And then there are those moments that I either fail to take advantage of or I take advantage of that are leading me off the cliff that's on that other side. So I'm living moment to moment. But I don't mean that in a depressing sense. I just mean in the, all these moments that are actually defining who I am or who I'm choosing to be. They just continue to happen. There's a starting point, which I'm not, in my consciousness, I don't remember.
Sure.
I don't remember myself in my mother's womb. There's a present point where I'm at right now, and then there's that final destination.
Sure.
I know that's where I'm trying to capitalize on moments that lead me there. In the physical sense, financial sense, obviously trying to use wisdom as I, leapfrog moments to kind of help position my family in a better financial situation. But the best moment.
I want to think about this and frame this properly. What is the motivation for you at this point? You're a working professional now. Talk about, although you still record as a rapper, we know everything that you do is to glorify God. It's what, that's been the basis of our relationship. I know that. Dynamic father, dynamic friend, helped us even open up Clean Juice, install cameras, dudes in the ceiling. It was fantastic. This dude is amazing. MacGyver. So but ultimately, what's the motivation? And, just speak to your goals moving forward. And you already said that. I'm asking you for a moment because I know you've accomplished some significant things. You've overcome some significant trials, but talk about your motivation.
My motivation is helping others. That's good enough for me. And how I measure my success is based on the impact that I have in people's lives. So since you're asking for a specific moment, I'll give you a specific moment that comes to mind. Eric LeGrand, when he suffered his injury.
Sure.
And I had met him because my son played football, also Pop Warner. So you always heard this name, Eric LeGrand.
Big deal.
My son and him went to the same high school. My son played freshman. He was senior at the time. So always seen him from a distance. I got called in, not to name drop, but to do motivational speaking entertainment for Rutgers. Shiano called me in through some friends, mutual friends, to speak before home games. That's where I met Eric LeGrand face to face.
Nice.
My oldest daughter and his cousin were in the same class together, so we had a lot of little ties. So and we struck a friendship there. The next year is when his paralysis happened, and I gave up years ago on trying to rap for a career. That's not an interest for me. But rap is a method of communication.
Sure.
Which I enjoy using, especially because my audience loves rap.
No doubt.
And so I had created a song called "Believe" to help encourage Eric and his family, and I took sound bites from the announcers when they're Eric Grant's taking off the field, just the whole nine, and video footage and pictures of that moment, and I told his grandmother, hey, you want to just a gift for Eric? And she's like, why don't you come to the hospital and give it to him yourself? When he was still at Kessler Institute in, was it East Orange or South Orange, whatever?
Yep.
So I went there. It was his mom. I believe his dad was there. And I can't remember who else. So I gave him the CD, and they put it on, and Eric's in the bed, paralyzed, neck down. Mom's watching Eric, and I'm watching the mom. So I'm like at a distance, no one heard the song before. And it's, so intro kicks in, Eric's listening, he starts bobbing his head, and then a couple, maybe 30 seconds later, mom kind of relaxed, and then tears started coming out because of the words of, I believe, life and encouragement that were in that song. And then I'm over here watching that happen, the impact it's having on his life. The mom, the release is the best way I can describe it. It just felt like I was watching something, a heaviness being released out of them.
Yeah.
And then now I'm fighting the tears back, and I'm like, wow, God, okay. It's not supposed to be a for sale type of thing. It's not supposed to be a look at what I've done or what I can do. It's a look at what it did here to the family, to the people who need it. So ever since then, I do things that impact people's lives. Sometimes it's just as a gift, as a one-on-one type of thing.
Sure.
And other times it's just meant to reach a larger group. But
it's powerful, bro. Powerful, and that's the whole thing. I think the power in your simplicity and your simple, intentional, day by day moments. It has the wake effect, right? It's like the little pebble that we throw out into the water, and there's 100 rings, that are reverberating. And like I said, that's the friend you've been to me. I got a chance to be a small little sliver of the Team Believe story. Still got my Tough Mudder pics. Still to this day, I still got, I don't have my headband anymore. But
I know where you could get one.
I know where to find anything crazy. But man, honestly, man, I just want to encourage you. Talk to us, just on the way out. Where can we find you? And is there anything that I would even say that you're working toward? Got some coals in the fire and all that good stuff, so that we can just stay in tune with the power of your impact.
You can find me at a Spartan race.
Come on, man, talk about it.
You can find me at a Tough Mudder. You can find me at Spartan DECA. I work for Spartan now. I always tell my kids the perfect job for me is one where I have a generous and appreciative boss.
Sure.
My plate is full, and I'm not in a box where I'm allowed to use my creativity to benefit the company.
Sure.
And number 3, something that I'm passionate about. And my prior job supplied the first 2, and I had an amazing boss. I learned so much from him, mentor of mine on the DL. I soaked up so much from him, practicing generosity. Last just by watching his life, things practicing generosity. Anyhow, so working for Spartan, it's a passion. You mentioned Team Believe a couple of times. We didn't touch on it, but Team Believe, for those who are unaware, you can find it on Instagram. Team Believe 923 is the handle. Because of Tim's training of us, we take adaptive athletes of all different abilities or disabilities. We train them up and we take them through bucket list items, whether it's an Ironman, a Spartan race, a Tough Mudder. If it's crazy, and you as the adaptive athlete, sure you want some of this, we'll give it to you. And so it's really exciting. So Spartan race. Nelson Runaway Diaz on Instagram. I am probably the most inactive on social media, but I do respond to my messages. You know, I'm trying to get in the habit of posting stuff up there. On the music front, I see opportunities all the time to create something to speak life to people or people groups. So I am working on some stuff, not looking for record label type of stuff. Sure. I think there's too much that comes along with that I don't want to be a part of.
Oh, buddy.
I believe that people, if people see the mission, the vision, and hear the talent, and they want to get behind it to push it further, absolutely welcome those conversations. Listen,
man, I just know you to be a man of strategic intent, man. Like you are the simple, I know Assassin was previously attached to your artistry name, but you're an assignment assassin, man. You're driven by means of purpose. You've demonstrated that with people like Eric LeGrand with nothing to gain at all, and even people like myself, just by virtue of our relationship, man. I want to thank you for coming through, dropping these dimes, catching this moment, but ultimately sharing that process, even some of the ugly, right? Because that's what we do, that really allowed you to cultivate this life of meaning, man. So appreciate you for checking in with me.
It's been an honor, bro. Thank you.
Listen, I need everybody to stay locked in. I want y'all to lay hold of what Nelson had to say, man. You can actually strategize simplicity so that you can get on track with your mission so that you can achieve your next moment and live within your purpose. So I want to appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all dial in with us next week. Catch the moment.